The advice I give to young people who have African dreams like me is to stay in God's will, ask Him to guide you and protect you and send the right people to you so that you can achieve on with your goal. Because I feel like that God first, He's the one that will lead you far. My name is Samara Osae Asare, and my African dream is to live out my divine purpose while inspiring others to do the same. I was born in the Bronx, New York in 2012, and I'm 10 years old. My family is loving. We love information. We spend nights chatting and playing games. And I remember when I was just a little kid that my parents had put on learning things like how to count, sight words, learning about the solar system, continents. My mom would put these things up along with putting on things that helps us learn new languages. And then in my dad's spare time, he would come and then he'd put on nature stuff so we could learn about plants and how they operate. I attend an international school in Accra, and my favorite subjects are English, art, social studies, and science. I say these because these are all different ways for me to express myself, and I get to learn about the who, what, where, when, why, and how. As for the career ambitions, I'm still a child, so I don't exactly know, but what I do know is that I want to be kept in God's path, and I want to have whatever God has for me. I say my role models are my parents and Oprah Winfrey. My parents because they live their lives fearlessly and it's worked well for them. I say Oprah Winfrey because she's classy, she seems well-intentioned, her motivational speeches are amazing, and I just love her interviews. I started presenting shows in 2022 here in Accra, Ghana on General Media's TV3. Before I started presenting, I was doing podcasts for my homework assignment, and on one of these episodes, I was able to interview my uncle, Samara Osae Asare, who was an entrepreneur. A few weeks after that, he came to tell my parents that he was talking to one of the people who were creating a new kids' news show, and he suggested that I would be a part of it because they needed 3 people, but they didn't have the third person. So my parents agreed. We went to TV3, I got the interview, I got the job, and the rest is history. So before I started presenting, I was doing my podcast. You didn't know when I was tired or when I was losing energy because you only had my voice and the people I was interviewing. But then when I got on shows to present, you saw my face. I couldn't make mistakes, I couldn't be tired, and a lot of times I was coming straight from school to the set of TV3 so I could record, then to go back home and finish all my homework. That is where the producer and the director of the show came in. Auntie Bridget and Auntie Lola had lifted up our spirits when we were tired. They made jokes so we can laugh, and then if we were frustrated with our lines, they'd help us remember them. So I want to say a big shout out to Auntie Lola and Auntie Bridget. Thank you so much for helping us with Kids Arena. Summertime started at the Africa Bitcoin Conference. But before that, I knew I always wanted to be a journalist since I was 6, because I came home from my kindergarten graduation telling my parents, I want to interview people. I want to have my own show so I can bring people on my show and ask them about how they got to that point. In fact, they were the very first people I interviewed. 2 years later, we moved to Ghana, and when I did my podcast on the first episode of my mom about how her experience was here in Ghana so far, I knew from that point on that I wanted to be a journalist. So, fast forward again, the Africa Bitcoin Conference, the very first time Summertime started was through Jack Dorsey. And from then on, it just flew. My visions for the show, I want everybody to see that they can do whatever they want to do, no matter how old or young they are. And I want it to show the best parts of Africa and to show the world that Africa is a part of the world. I've interviewed a number of people such as Jack Dorsey, and I choose him because he taught me so much about Bitcoin. He said that no matter how old or young you are, you could take part of it. You can help it grow. I'd say Letitia Wright and Chance the Rapper, because although they are amazing and they're superstars, they're still down to earth. They're very humble. So I want to say thank you to them for giving me that chance for me to interview them. I'm going to say Mackenzie Sagalos. She taught me how to interview people in a different style, and she encouraged me. And if I was stuck on a certain question, she would teach me on how to ask another question so that the person doesn't trip up. I would definitely say Sway, because he was just encouraging and he brightened up my spirits on the Black Sideline Festival night. And I would say Jay Ivy, because his words and his poem was so amazing and it literally hit my heart. So I want to say thank you to all those people, and those are the people who inspired me the most. When I interviewed Jack Dorsey, I felt shocked and I felt grateful, because that was just the beginning of summertime and I just felt so happy. I learned from that interview that Bitcoin is decentralized, it's permissionless. You can be in any country in the world and your country can't take away your money. You have different passcodes to your own money so no one tries to steal it. It becomes harder for them to steal it. And that Bitcoin is for the people. It's not for people to rule, to take over, but for you to have a new way of exchanging money. How I juggle between school and career. When I get home from school, I have homework usually, so I try to set an allotted time for me to complete it. So then after that, I can go straight into revising my questions and then going around asking my family members about what they think about it, so that when I get my answers, I'll be able to improve how it's set and then ask a couple more questions after that, so I get used to just interviewing different people. I love reading and I'm very curious. One of my favorite books of all time is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I see myself in 10 years happy, healthy, and in God's will. The advice I give to young people who have African dreams like me is to stay in God's will, ask Him to guide you and protect you and send the right people to you so that you can achieve on with your goal. Because I feel like that God first, He's the one that will lead you far.
Hi, my name is Samara Osae Asare, and I am a manager. I manage Summertime, and Samara is my daughter. Samara was an extraordinary baby. She was exceptionally bright. If I can remember back, there was one particular funny story that let me know that she was going to be okay. I was cooking dinner one evening and she was about 7 months old, and I wanted to secure her on the couch. So I put a bunch of throw pillows around her and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna stay right here. I'm just gonna check on dinner really quick and I'm gonna come out, okay? And I came out about 2 minutes later to find all the throw pillows on the floor, and she had found a way to climb down and secure herself without falling and hurting herself. And I was like, this girl's smart. She's gonna be okay. As far as her growing up, Sama, just watching her grow up is like the highlight of our lives in the household. She's exceptionally brilliant. Back at home in the Bronx, she was scouted out for Horseman, which is a very, very top tier prestigious school in the Bronx. And she's always been a straight A student, even from the Bronx till here in Ghana. She's just kept the momentum. I'm definitely playing a huge role in her career. I am her momager. So I get to make sure that she's on the straight and narrow, but at the same time, I kind of scale back just to let her feel herself out, let her go through her nuances, and from there it teaches her how to bounce back from any issues that she has. So we kind of practice autonomy, if that makes any sense. But that's about all I do aside from being her personal coach and cheerleader. If anything other than her manager, I'm her biggest fan and biggest cheerleader. I was never skeptical, not one moment. When she came home from her kindergarten graduation and told her dad and I that she emphatically wanted to be a journalist. Well, she actually said she wanted to be a YouTuber. So if you see that she has Summertime YouTube, that's where it came from 4 years ago. She said she wanted to do that. And she had been asking us so many questions for years. So we took her seriously. And when we relocated to Ghana, she was off to the races. So yeah, I took it serious. No skepticism, not one bit. How would I describe being Samara's manager in one word? I want to say interesting. I'm in a new phase of my life where I am not just her mom, but her manager, and I have to handle her differently than just being a mom. So I find myself being more of her coach, being more of her confidant, her cheerleader more often than not. And sometimes I find her encouraging me during the process of being a manager because these roles are new to both of us. So interesting. That is my one word, interesting. The advice that I would give to parents who want to help their children during times of trying to self-discover what it is that they want to do talent-wise, pray. That's kind of where I'm at right now because it's all new to me. A lot of prayer. I ask for discernment as much as possible. I ask for patience because this is a new element being added on to your parenting. You're going to need a lot of patience. I would say also give them the space and the autonomy that they need to figure out what it is that they really do want to do. They could wake up tomorrow and say they want to do something else, and 2 weeks later it's something else new from that. So just have the patience. And I would say resources is a big thing. Access is a huge factor. So if you can, it's not always about money, it's about access. A lot of people get that confused and they feel like, okay, oh, I need the money in order to help propel my child's career. Sometimes it's just having near access to certain things and building relationships and networking. So if you can be really great at networking, the sky is the limit for you and your child or your children. That is pretty much the advice I have because I'm still new. I will get back to you later on when I perfect this. My future expectation for Samara is that she's kept in the will of the Creator. As time goes, life changes. You never know how things are going to unfold. I just want her to be of sound mind. I want her to be happy and confident in whatever it is that she does. I want her to stay grounded and humble and just enjoy the process of life. Just enjoy it all. As far as Summertime, oddly enough, I'm getting a lot of DMs, messages that she's blessing and encouraging a lot of adults with her courage, her ability to execute things properly and convey to the world that Ghana can and will do and be one of the best leading nations that history has ever seen. And she's seeing that this nation is on a precipice of great change and she is proud to be a part of it. And her viewers are cheering her on and a lot of Ghanaians are writing and pouring in. It makes me cry sometimes to see a 10-year-old be so bold and wanting to express herself that change can happen. She has hope. It's never doused. You know, whatever she's seen, it's never like all the nuances and challenges that are happening. It's never stopped her from having hope. And that hope is permeating through social media handles. And it's amazing to see that. So my hope is that Summertime continues to encourage people of all ages and inspires every single child and adult that they can do anything that they put their minds to. And greatness awaits you. Greatness awaits Summertime. That's where I'm at with it. That's what I wish. That's what I hope.
My family is loving. We spend many nights talking, playing Uno cards, which is an American card game, and we'll just be watching things, laughing, discussing, talking. My younger siblings will be running around, having fun, and then I'll be chasing after them. I'll be like, hey, come back, where are you going? Our family loves information. I remember when I was just a little baby that my parents would put up things about numbers, the solar system, continents, countries, and everything, which is why I grew to love information so much. My brothers would just want to watch cartoons all day, but otherwise they would love to watch about plants, about animals, just about nature, period. My mom loves teaching us about new things. She loves teaching us about the how, when, who, what, and where. She loves to cook. She's an amazing cook. She is the one usually teaching us about new languages. And in my father's spare time, he will also teach us about different things like how we could solve math problems easier, about how we could just do simple things, and learning about his culture because he's a Ghanaian. We would also spend nights discussing about how our days went and about how we could solve new problems. Our family just loves discussing, which is why I love discussing and learning about the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Hi, my name is Samara Osae Asare. I am 10 years old and a journalist and a presenter. You are watching Face2Face Africa, the premier global Black voice.